Welcome to the next installment of How to Heroics by Denz. This time I ventured into Nexus. And again, it's a full pug, but this time I'm tanking, so I didn't even have to ask for leader. I just started off with it. Two types of dragon mobs you come across is melee and caster. The melee ones will put a shield on themselves and occasionally silence one person in the party. The caster dragons will put arcane debuff and also shoot frost bolts, but neither one of them are very dangerous as long as the tank's got them. The first group of three we come across has a caster and two hounds. They do a variety of debuffs and spell damage. The hounds, you can get silenced, and it also reduces like overall spell damage and magic healing and whatnot that you do. It's all AoE abilities, so if you just stay at a range, if you're a healer or caster, you won't get that stuff cast on you. The hounds do silence you. Like a fell hunter interrupt every now and then though, so even if you're at range, you might get caught with that. The next groups of 2 to 3 you want to kill. Priority order is the clerics, which are the healers, then the hunters because they do a random like AoE shot with no particular aggro, and then lastly is the berserkers, which do a knockback. So if you're tanking, you want to put your back against the wall and tank them that way, so you won't get knocked away from them when they do their knockback. The first boss that you come across here is actually a boss in the heroic. He does a variety of things, including whirlwind, which the melee should run out of, but if you have a decent amount of health, you could survive one. He also fears, so if you have a totem, it's a good thing to drop a totem, or I popped my fear breaker the first time. But overall, he's not very hard. You just gotta be careful. You're pulling way back, so that in case you don't have a fear remover, to just take him all the way back there, so that when he fears, you won't get feared into more mobs. And then it's just rinse and repeat. Clerics, then hunters, then berserkers through the next few packs. And then there's another humanoid with 2 dogs patrol that goes up and down the corridor. So I kind of watch out for that while I'm tanking the ads down below, see if it's coming. If it comes along, I grab it before the DPS act. These next groups, I usually kill the casters first. They do a bunch of frost damage. They AoE silence, so again, if you just stay out of range, you won't get silenced. They also do a frost tomb ability on someone, and that'll completely immobilize and incapacitate them. A lot of the abilities they do are dispellable. They're magic abilities, so if you have a dispeller, just make sure he's on top of that if you're taking too much damage. There's like a frost dodge. This patrol right here with another 2 hounds and a caster will sneak up sometimes, and I'll grab it before I pull the bunch in the boss's room, just so that no DPS grabs it. This next boss is, in my opinion, one of the biggest pain bosses in here. In her single form stage, she'll throw you around the room, and she'll launch giant AoE fireballs, and she'll sometimes do an AoE frost tomb ability that immobilizes everyone for a few seconds, and then at about 66% or so, she'll split into 3 clones of herself. One is arcane, one does frost spell damage, and one does fire spell damage. The most dangerous one is the arcane one because she does polymorph and she does time stop, which are both stunning and incapacitating abilities. The next most dangerous one would be the frost one because it just lays down a blizzard that almost covers the entire area, and it does a hefty amount of damage. So if you had to kill in order, it would definitely arcane, frost, and fire. And she does this twice at 66 and then 33. She'll split, and it's good to just drop AoE right where she disappears, so you can grab the ads. And there is an achievement for this boss if you manage to kill all 3 of her clones, and both times she spawns them within 5 seconds of each other. That's an achievement on heroic. These next groups with dragons, the spellcasters die first because they can heal and they do spell damage. The melee mobs, the worst thing they do is a mortal strike, so the healer just needs to pay attention. If the tank gets mortal strike on him, he's going to need a little bit more healing than normal. In the groups with the dragons where there's a vortex, you want to kill the vortex first. Range DPS can take the vortex down without aggroing the rest of the mobs in the group. So you just have range take it out, and then you run in and grab the rest of the stuff. after this group of dragons, I'll usually jump straight down into the group of the Mana Void and the Ethereals. The Ethereals do arcane missiles as a primary attack. They're not elite, so they die really easily. The elite, the Mana Void in the center, does a Mana Burn ability and also AoE Arcane Blast. And when they die, they give off a Mana Regeneration aura. In the group before the boss, there's actually there'll usually be a vortex mixed in there too, so you need to make sure you kill that first before you kill the voids and the ethereals. Oh, and if I forgot to mention, the vortexes spawn more ethereals, and that's why they die first. This boss only has a few different abilities. One thing he'll do is put an arcane debuff on you, which greatly increases the amount of arcane damage you take, which is his primary form of attack. He'll sometimes throw large lightning balls at a certain party member, and every time he spawns the vortexes, those shoot out lightning bolts, and that's considered arcane damage. And the ethereals that spawn from the vortexes are also do arcane damage with their arcane missiles. So the biggest thing you gotta watch out for here is the arcane debuff. It's a magic ability, so it can be dispelled, but pretty much you DPS him until he shrinks down and gets small and he becomes immune, and then you kill all the vortexes and make sure you get down the ads too so they don't accumulate, start attacking the healer and the clothies, and then you just rinse and repeat that. Make sure you notice when he spawns new vortexes and take him down, and this boss is pretty easy. And I forgot to record it, but when you finish beating that boss, you want to run straight down the ramp and then jump straight. Don't veer left or right. There's a chance you could fall off and die. So just run straight off the next platform. And you kill 2 more groups we've already gone over, and then you're into the frost area. And the different mobs in here, the little plant mobs, they'll root and slow you, but other than that, they're just plain annoying. The giant tree mobs will do an AoE frost strike. They'll also root, and they'll do a thunderclap. That'll slow your attack speed. And that's pretty much all their abilities. The patrols will walk around of the menders and tenders. The trees and the dryads, kill the dryads first, because they'll when they get low health, they'll do a tranquility heal on everything, and then kill them first, then kill the trees. The trees have on them a buff. It's like ice armor, and it gives them that shield that you'll see the animation on them. And if you hit them while they've got that shield on them, you could get stunned for a couple of seconds. So if you can, if I'm on my priest, normally I will just mass dispel the shields off of them so the DPS won't get slowed down. If the DPS is slow, sometimes I like to take grab one of the little plant mobs and pull it up there and kill it near the boss so we can get the aura of regeneration, which is take less damage and you get health and mana back every couple seconds. But the DPS was pretty good, so we didn't really need to pull one up on this one. And the way I normally do this, no matter what class I'm on, is I'll stand right underneath the boss, because that'll help you avoid the ice spikes that he shoots out, and he won't spawn any little flares on any of the ranged if they're right underneath the boss. So the way to avoid almost all of his abilities and negate them is just to stand right underneath of him for the entire fight. He does also spell reflect, so you may get random damage on one of your party members as a caster. And after you kill him, make sure you don't run back the way you came. There's a little tunnel you just take it and drop right down near where the final boss will be. Once you jump down, just make a quick left turn and run out the hallway and straight across, and there you're in the boss room. And this final boss, the main key to this is just keep moving. I like the jump method, so just keep jumping every couple seconds and fight her on her sides, because she does a tail swipe if you're behind her and breathes on you if you're in the front. She does an occasional AoE root, which it's really good to have a priest because of the massive spell, but you just get that root off of people and continue jumping and moving. And that's all there is to this fight, really.
So I can check myself again, and I stand proven to the man but sheltered, confidence returned to champagne.